Okay, so I bought a 2.5 and a 4 meter Flysurfer POW simply off its reputation. No demos, no questions. I just bought them off the hype. So does it really deliver, or are there flaws that people don't talk about? Well, I've been using it in a whole host of different conditions. So if you stick around, I'll answer those questions. As always, and for full disclosure, I have absolutely no affiliation whatsoever with Flysurfer, and I'm certainly not trying to sell you one. This is simply my opinions of using the product for the last couple of weeks in a whole host of different conditions. Now, on that note, I do want to remind you that the sole purpose of this channel is to raise money for Bear Cottage, the children's hospice based here in Sydney. They run 24-hour, 7 days a week palliative care for pediatrics, and they need our help. By liking and subscribing to the channel, you help generate a revenue through advertising. So please go ahead, hit the like icon and share it far and wide. Now, off the back of that, I do want to do a shout out to the brands that do support me, and that is North, Armstrong, WSS Boards, the Foil Board Company, and of course, Code Foils. Thank you guys. I simply couldn't do this without your help. So first up, I want to talk about the bar and how it flies on the beach. Now, the bar itself has got a really good color scheme and it's very well ergonomically designed. Now, the color scheme allows you to identify which is the front and the back of the bar instantaneously. Now, this is super important when you're trying to unpack it after a stow. What's more, it's asymmetric so that you know straight away from a tactile feel which way is the front and the back. In fact, this turned up handle they have at the front perfectly complements its flying style, which is very much off the front lines, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. There's more than enough real estate on there to add accessories like harness lines or indeed a safety leash, and I also love the fact that you can move the center lines, the B lines, depending on the conditions. It's extremely comfortable and functional for flying, but for stashing away, well, we'll cover that one a little bit later on. At first glance, the bridle system looks complicated and cluttered, and it's certainly more than other power wings that I've used, but this is where the magic happens, and I've had absolutely no tangles with it so far. Flysurfer have elected to go for a pulley system on their bar, and of all the pulley systems that I've used so far, this is the most refined and effective by a country mile. Now, this pulley system leads me nicely onto my next point, which is the wind range and also the ability to steer when sheeted out, and the POW excels in both of these. The micro tuning of the pulley gives for a great low and top end, and the length of the bar allows for control when completely sheeted out. This results in not only excellent depowering when gust hits, but an ability to still control the powering, which is really important. Now, for me, the standout feature for the POW is the upwind angles that it produces. Now, this is hands down the best performing power wing upwind that I've used to date. Obviously, this allows you to rocket into the eye of the wind so you can pack down and enjoy those bumps. It's really why we all want to get into power winging, so a massive plus point for the POW. Now, what's great to see is that not only are the angles really good, but it's incredibly efficient at going upwind as well. The drag is minimized, there is no flapping, the canopy is very well tuned. It feels like a performance race kite, which is exactly what you'd expect from a brand like Flysurfer. Now, if I could summarize the POW in just 2 words, it would be fast and it would be smooth. And this should come at no surprise given the brand's pedigree in wing design. Now, before we talk about my dislikes, I want to jump into this new leash that I've been using from the Foil Board Company, which is a universal connection to any bar that you can put on and then connect it to your harness or your belt system. You can choose to put it on the back of the bar, so when you let go, it stalls and then just lies on the water for you, or you can put it on the front of the bar, and so when you let go, it will just fly off the center lines. Either way, it's a great accessory to have, and I highly recommend it, particularly in the early stages when you're learning. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I take no prisoners when it comes to my dislikes, and there's no exception with the Flysurfer POW. Now, first up, I want to talk about the bar, and it's long, like really long. Now, I've talked about this earlier on, that this is intentional and they did this to increase the steering when you're depowered. But for me, that's too much of a compromise for the stashability. Having a bar that long really impedes stowing it away. You have to find either a really good stash belt, or indeed you just have to hold it the whole time. Look, it's not impossible to tuck it away completely into a stash belt, but it definitely makes it harder. And another thing you've got to think about whilst you're downwinding, and there's 10 other things going on. Now, next up and connected to the bar is the length of the lines. And like the bar, these are way longer than I would like. Again, this does not help with packing it away. In fact, the 4 meter, the lines are longer than my stretch, which means I can't do it in one pull. This just adds complication, time, and potential error when you're trying to pack the power wing away. As per the bar, look, it's not a showstopper. I definitely have packed away the 4 meter. It just isn't as easy as some of the other brands out there. Like with everything, it's a compromise, and the increased line length allows for this incredible upwind and increased wind range. It just hampers the pack away a little more than I would like. And then lastly, on the theme of the lines, is my pet hate is the fact that they're all the same color. Again, when you end up getting tangles, this is an absolute nightmare. Each set should be individually colored so that you can quickly identify them. It makes untangling so much easier, I promise you. As you would expect from Flysurfer, they have produced a power wing that is excellent. It flies like a tuned kite, and its performance is next level. I think this power wing leans towards somebody that wants to do long upwind sends, locked into the harness, really comfortable, enjoy their local area at speed and in a range of different conditions. It's got a great low end, and the top end is exceptional as well. But if you're somebody that loves to do downwind sends, enjoys really short ups and downs, constantly packing it away and redeploying, I think there are better power wings for this. Look, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you've got any questions, type them in below. I will get back to you as soon as possible, and I will see you on the water again soon.